I had all intentions of getting her to the doctor to see what was happening, and it was too late. The next day she was gone.
Welcome to Thriving in Menopause, brought to you by Prevention Magazine. I'm Zoe Mernier, the editor of Prevention. Thank you for joining me for episode 3 of season 12. Today on the podcast, we're joined by a very special guest and amazing human, Craig Gaunt, founder of the Debbie Gaunt Foundation. Following the tragic death of his wife, Debbie, to suicide in 2019, Craig started the Debbie Gaunt Foundation to raise awareness of perimenopausal depression and to provide a place that could support women going through perimenopause. This is such an important topic, and it's one that should be heard not just by perimenopausal or menopausal women, but also men and society in general. Of course, if today's episode raises any issues for you, please call Lifeline on 131 114 or contact the Suicide Callback Service on 1300 659 467 or visit Beyond Blue at beyondblue.org.au. Craig, thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing yours and Debbie's story.
Thank you for having me. That was a lovely introduction.
My pleasure. Look, I'm sure telling this story doesn't get any easier, but could you start by just telling us a bit about Debbie and her story?
Yeah, well, I think that's why it's so important, because of Debbie, who she was. She didn't have any mental health issues. She was like the strongest person we knew. She always had 2 jobs. She worked at a school in the office and the vets, and we've got a construction company, so she did the books for that as well.
So very busy and capable.
Yeah, so if she went to the shopping centres. It was a three-hour episode because she was so happy and talking to people and
very outgoing and chatty.
And smiley and happy.
And then so what happened? When did it all start changing?
Well, just all of a sudden, in retrospect, if you look back, it was probably a month or so that she just sort of changed.
Yeah.
And it was hard to pick up because she was sort of had the flu as well towards the end when it got really bad and sort of got turned into psychosis.
Right. So what were the first sort of warning signs or the ways that she had started to change?
She was getting very paranoid.
Right.
Was the main thing. And because she did our bookkeeping, she couldn't understand it. She couldn't work it out anymore.
So she had a bit of brain fog as well.
Yes.
Yep. But when the paranoia came through, it was kind of like she felt that she just, couldn't do it, or that she sort of escalated it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was just so sudden and just so extreme. And it's a lot of it's a retrospect sort of looking at it as well because it was so fast.
Of course. So as you said, she then got the flu, which kind of compounded everything. So she was unwell as well as maybe withdrawing from people. Is that what happened?
Yeah, she stopped going to the gym. And one of the girls later said when she parked at school to go to work, she sort of walked straight past her and didn't make eye contact with her, which was
very
just
out of character.
Yeah, she'd never do that.
And then what brought everything to a head?
Well, she sort of had issues with doing our books and sort of stuff because she couldn't understand it, and just she focused on that, and it really got into her head. And it was just such a short time, and we're just sort of trying to get her head around and what was happening with her.
Yeah. So did you kind of say you don't seem yourself, or why is this such a?
I was very mindful of not to set her off and do anything to make it worse. So,
because she seemed on edge.
Yeah, so I had all intentions of taking her to a doctor like the next week when she we went and saw the accountant, and he said nothing's wrong, it's all good.
The books were fine.
Books are fine.
So she had this thing in her head that the books were all wrong, but they were totally fine.
And I went to the accountants with her, and I usually just sit there and just don't do anything, and she talks and that, and she couldn't speak.
Right.
So I was trying to talk to her, and then the accountant rang me the next day and said, we've rang her, we've told her there's nothing wrong. When we went in there, he was just perplexed. He was just looking, going, what's going on here? And I had all intentions of getting her to the doctor to see what was happening, and it was too late. The next day she was gone.
And, you just had absolutely no foresight that she was at that point.
No. The only and I sort of looked back, and then I thought, and during what was happening, I thought, well, she's been talking to my daughter about her periods being out of whack.
Right.
And I thought she's 52, and I thought, well, this is probably something to do with menopause.
Yeah.
That's what sent me down that track.
Yeah. So obviously it was just such a huge shock for you and your family, your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were trying to make sense of it all, I guess, and that's when you were kind of Googling, how did you sort of move on from there in terms of finding out more about the whole perimenopause?
Well, I just went straight on the computer and I just Googled suicide and menopause, and straight away warnings come up.
Right.
Warning connections between menopause, suicide, and the suicide rate. Highest suicide rate was 48 to 54 in women. I've just gone, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you would have had no idea of that prior, would you? And I'm sure Debbie had probably no idea of
she would
that
have had no
prior.
idea. She would have just thought she was going crazy,
Yeah.
I'd imagine. But I had no idea. I just thought girls didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't think
Right.
anything
You
about
thought
it.
it was something that men,
Probably everyone's the same. Like, well, it's 2 women every day.
Yeah.
And that's the highest age group.
Age bracket.
Yeah.
So once you kind of made this connection, you did reach out to Professor Jayashri Kulkarni. That's right, isn't it? Who has been on this podcast as well. She's a mental health expert. So what did you learn from her just about how prevalent, this kind of thing is?
Yeah. Well, I fired off an email, and I've never done that sort of thing. I thought it'd just disappear and go into the world. Yeah. They got back to us.
Yeah.
And I ended up speaking to her. So then we got on a plane and we flew down there.
Right.
And they showed us what was happening down there and the clinic they had down there, which they got a GP, a psychiatrist and an endocrinologist. So it's a one-stop shop. You come in here and they check you out and they do all that sort of stuff. And I thought, wow, how good's this?
Yeah.
It's like, and they said, well, this is in 2019. They had 280 women on the waiting list there. So we thought, that's no good. How can we fix that?
And that's where you had the idea to start a foundation, or did you just think to yourself, I want to help out in whatever way I can?
Well, I said, how do we help and what can we do? And they said, well, the first thing we need is we started a grand plan with them to get these clinics around Australia. But I said, in the meantime, the first thing we need, we're developing a course because there's a shortage of GPs that have any knowledge at all on this, as you'd probably know. Yes. So they were just developing a course to train GPs. They said, well, we need $44,000 to get that up and running.
Right.
So we said, rightio, we'll go out and see if we can raise that money. So we had to go back, start the foundation, and that was just too hard. So I reached out to the Iris Foundation.
The Iris Foundation, yes.
And so said, can you help us? And I said, yep. So they auspiced us. It's like a sponsor.
Right.
So we went out there, we started Debbie Gaunt Foundation, and we went out and we raised the $44,000.
Amazing.
And we come back. We were going to come back with a check, but COVID was on, so we couldn't go back down
Yes.
there. But yeah, so that course is up and running now, and it's now available to anyone to do.
Right.
Yeah, it's on our website.
Yep. So for GPs to do, and or just normal people, anybody can do it.
Yes.
And how many GPs have gone through the course?
I'm not sure the numbers, but they're still doing it now. It's still ongoing.
That's incredible.
Hot flushes? No sweat. Try Premensul Menopause products to relieve common menopausal symptoms for both perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. Premensul understands that hot flushes and night sweats are not the only things going on in your life. This is why Premensul has added 2 new products to their range. New Premensul Libido and Energy, because face it, we all could do with a boost of both. And new Premensul Brain Fog to help increase short-term memory, mental recall, and reduce cognitive fatigue. Now, where did I put my keys? Premensul provides premium holistic supplement care for women using evidence-based ingredients for products you can trust. Premensul is here to help you take control of your own health and live your best life. Plus, check out our brand new look in-store now. Always read the label and follow directions for use.
After you did that first amazing step, what was next for the foundation?
Well, we went to Parliament House and were invited into there by Emma McBride, and we submitted the proposal for the clinic.
Yes.
At Canberra.
Yeah.
But, that got knocked back.
Right.
But while that was in, we thought, well, there's nothing much we can do there. So we went back and said, well, what's the next step? Now, that's at Parliament House. We can't go any further than that. So we said, well, we need to really concentrate on the mental health side of this.
Yep.
So Sue Liptrop, the CEO, and I had a meeting. We said, well, we want to engage a digital marketing expert and create a website and concentrate on mental health.
Yeah.
So
really just educating people about everything.
Yeah. So then we did that. We had a launch in April last year. So since then we've been working together we do education nights and
fantastic.
Educate people together.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. So In what you've learned and in what you've put out there, what are the key kind of insights and discoveries about the mental health side of women navigating menopause that you would love people to know about?
Well, just to be aware that it can kick in at 40s.
Yes. Yeah,
And
much earlier than most people believe, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and just to be aware of if something seems different, and the doctor might tell you you're too young.
Yeah.
People might tell you, no, you're only 40, it's too young.
Yes, and you might have no other symptoms yet as well. Like, that could be the very first symptom of perimenopause that shows up. So you haven't got anything else around you that's, going, oh, well, maybe it's this because I'm having hot flushes or, that could be much further down the track is what I've learned as well. So this could be the first sign that something has changed.
Yeah, and it's very encouraging. All the average age of the women that are coming to our events now is getting so much younger. Younger,
yes, because I think people really need to know about it before anything happens. They need to sort of perhaps be alert that this could be coming, rather than this is happening to me now and what is it? Because when you're in that stage, as you said, for Debbie, it was just so sudden and so quick and so severe. Like from the get-go, wasn't it?
Well, that's it. And she would have had no idea what was happening. And I don't know how many women and their partners are out there right now and not knowing what's going on. Like the divorce rate of people in that age group too. It's just...
Yes, yeah. Because, husbands don't know, what's going on, and maybe even if they did, a lot of them wouldn't know how to deal with that. So is sort of educating, the male side of things something that's a strong focus for you?
Yeah, that's a big thing we want to get into this year. We don't sort of know how to do it.
Yeah,
is the biggest thing, and so that's something we need to work on and figure out the best way to.
So tell us about this golf thing that's coming up with Ali Dado and Cameron Dado. So that's obviously a great way to kind of get men on board is the golf aspect, but then at the same time really educating along the way. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that's on the 5th of September this year. It's at Longreef Golf Club.
Yep.
And so that would be because we've got Cameron Dado involved as well, and hopefully I can work with Cameron and just figure out. I think Ali's done a little blurb as well for men, so hopefully we can just use that and tweak that and get the message out, because a lot of guys do play golf and girls, of course. If we can somehow work a way to get the message out that way.
I mean, I guess what would be your message here for men who maybe have noticed some changes in their wives or partners? Is the message just, I guess, don't delay to try and get help? And
don't delay and don't just listen to your GP if you don't think that they're telling you the right thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's not the doctor's fault. They don't get trained.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
Yeah.
And just be aware that this can be serious.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the osteoporosis as well. That's a big thing that girls should be going out and getting a DEXA scan.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Because again, that's something that, by the time you may have noticed that something's not right, it's almost too late, isn't it? So it's something that, again, should be done earlier than you imagine, like maybe early 40s.
Oh, for sure. I think you get a free scan when you're 70 or something.
Yeah. That will tell you what's already happened rather than telling you that things could be done now to maybe make things better.
I think it's only like $150 or something for a scan. I think Ali and Mary have a bus that goes around and doing scans.
Yes. So this is just to clarify for our listeners, this is Ali Dado and Mary Dubé, who have a company called Aviana, which is offering menopause products. It's a one-stop shop for supporting women in menopause. So, yes, they are doing some road shows. They're going around where women can get DEXA scans, which show them the state of their muscles and joints and bones, and so that's a great thing that they're doing for sure. Okay, let's talk a bit about what the main challenges are that women face during menopause. Obviously, there's the fact that there's the GPs that really don't have a lot of knowledge about it. I think that's a key one. What are some other things that have come up for you?
Well, the other thing is the psychiatrists and the psychologists that don't consider hormones in their treatments
in their
as well.
treatment. So they're doing a lot of prescribing of antidepressants when they could be. What did Professor Kulkarni tell you about that, and how women can be better serviced in that regard?
Well, they're getting the antidepressants, and it makes it worse.
Right.
It can't help in some instances, but overall it makes it worse, and it's trying to get the message out to consider hormones in their consultations.
Yes, yep. Consider HRT or MHT, yes.
Well, just the option. So it's just give women the choice.
Yeah. Yes, don't just go, all right,
here's antidepressants.
oh, you've got anxiety, here's some antidepressants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, because they can set you off on an even worse spiral, can't they?
Struggling with thinning hair or lack of volume? You're not alone. New Nordic's hair volume supplement is formulated with herbal ingredients like zinc and biotin to support thicker, healthier hair. Plus, it nourishes your nails and skin for a complete beauty boost. Discover the benefits at hairvolume.au and give your hair the support it needs naturally.
Okay, so the foundation, as you said, provides various resources. Can you highlight some of the most sort of impactful programs that are making a difference to women?
Well, as I say, we're doing the training, the courses, the education nights. We want to develop a course to take to women in the workplace.
Right.
That's what we wanted to start on this year. I went down to see Monash last year at the Hurt Centre.
Yes.
There was an Asia Pacific Women's Mental Health Conference, and they mentioned about a course for women in the workplace. So we want to try and develop that. So that's our big thing for this year.
Yes, because what have you learned about what happens with women, struggling with menopause in the workplace?
Well, they just drop out because they can't do their job anymore, and that just gets harder and harder for them. And it's I don't know how many billions of dollars the government loses through women dropping out. And
absolutely, and let alone the impact to their own sort of financial nest eggs, and especially if they're having problems at home, or this is also a period where homelessness can escalate for women as well, because they may have had marital splits and then they may have not been able to work. So it's a vicious circle.
Thrown to that,
really.
You go to the doctor and he says you're too young and gives you antidepressants.
Yeah. Yes, it's not a good circle of events, is it? So how has working on the foundation helped you and the family heal after the loss of Debbie? Has it kind of helped you just have that purpose?
Yeah, well, that's my therapy, really.
Yeah.
And it brings us together too. The daughters just sort of started from when we had the launch last year, getting involved.
Right. How old are your children?
Jack's birthday was yesterday, actually, so he's 25 and Hayley's 27.
That's great. And is Jack involved in the foundation?
He is, but because he's a guy, it's hard for him to get involved and do stuff as much as Hayley. But Hayley comes to all the events and stuff.
That's amazing.
It's hard enough for me to sit through all the dry vaginas and.
It's a lot. It is a lot. Good on you.
Jack does come to, so he'll be coming to the golf day, and we've got to doing the Raw Challenge, like a Tough Mudder this weekend. So he's coming to help with that.
That's more. Yeah, that's more up men's alleys. Okay. And as someone who has dedicated so much of their time to supporting women during this transition, what message would you like to share to women just listening today?
Oh, it's a bit of a cliche and it's probably been out there, but you're not broken.
Yeah.
I think that's the main message. And get help. If you go to, as I say, if you go to a GP and you're not happy with what they say, go to a different one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're trying to get a bit of a directory going of doctors that know stuff. And the other trouble is, if you find a doctor that knows and you can't get in there.
That's right. And the cost. Yeah. Yeah. It's seeking out those menopausal experts and then being able to get in to see them. That's the thing, isn't it?
So you're looking at, say, $400 to see a doctor. Then if you're seeing a therapist as well, and then you've got the medicines. So that's a big thing we want to try and fix too, like get this on Medicare. Well, estrogen patches, you can't get them.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I say. That wouldn't happen if it was Viagra or.
Of course.
And girls can't get testosterone.
Yeah.
But I've noticed since we started in 2019, 2020, the change is just crazy.
You really feel like you've seen
100%.
some progress.
Oh,
yeah.
So we were at an event the other week at the Opera House with 2,000 people.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that's unheard of back 4 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. So many people I'm speaking to are like, oh, menopause is everywhere at the moment. And it's like, well, I don't want it to just be at the moment. You know, it has to be top of mind because it's a massive thing that, you know, will happen to 50% of the population. So it's not just something that has to have a moment and then die away again. It's like it's something that we just need to keep talking about and keep educating because there is still a long way to go, isn't
Well,
there?
it affects their families too.
Yeah, absolutely. If teenagers or kids don't know that mum's going through this, they might just think, you know, mum hates me right now, or you know what I mean, or what's happened to my mum? She used to be this and now she's this. So it's about just understanding and being aware of the causes of it, and then being able to then have more empathy and be able to get the help that you need.
Hopefully, we slowly eradicate that thinking. Oh yeah, you get cranky, you get a few hot flushes, and then it'll be over.
Yes, yeah, that's been a huge misconception, I think.
I think it's changing.
Yeah, slowly.
Slowly, but yeah, it's like since we started, the difference is incredible.
Yeah, and I think that has, you know, you can absolutely take plenty of credit for that with all the educating that you've been doing and those courses and all the work that you've been doing.
The mental health side is
huge. It's you know, it's one that doesn't often get a lot of discussion, but it's probably the most important, I think, because it affects everything else, you know.
Yeah. Well, since I started, just the women you speak to, they just had so many mental issues. And, yeah, they go to a doctor and they say, oh, okay, here's antidepressants. Off you go.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that we need to change and get the message out there. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today, but thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations and thank you for everything that you've done.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Listeners, thank you for joining us as well. If you liked this episode, we'd love you to rate, review and subscribe, and we hope you'll join us for next week's episode. Meanwhile, for more information about living your best life at midlife, pick up a copy of Prevention magazine. I'm Zoe Mernier. See you next time.